Sky Genie Entertainment presents the following. The Sky Genie Show is not suitable for children under the age of 18. It contains coarse language, sexual references, my own personal views and opinions. The characters of this show are fictional and are made for fun, not harm. I would like to thank you for listening to the Sky Genie Show. Episode 60, Take 2. Welcome to the Sky Genie Show. This is the worst show ever. We're on episode 60 of the Sky Genie Show. Yes, episode 60. This was meant to be 61, but because of what happened last week, this is actually take 2. Last week's show, the last 10 minutes of it was cut out. So what I planned to do was do this week's part of the show and add last week's to the end of it. At the end of the show, I will add Stupid Shit of the Week for both this week and last week's episode. So hopefully we get back on track next week. So let's get into the show. AJ Styles defeated Jinder Mahal to become WWE Champion. This comes after 2 weeks before Survivor Series. Now, there is word going around that Jinder Mahal could win it back next week. But my feeling is this is great. If it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles, I would rather have that match than Jinder Mahal. Sadly, Jinder Mahal sucked as champion in the ring and on the microphone. And let's face it, AJ Styles is the better choice. The cool thing about AJ Styles is that he can do a job to Brock Lesnar and it doesn't damage his credibility because his legacy is already cemented. He's kind of like John Cena in a way, where you could have Cena win or lose, but it won't change anything, as AJ is an established talent. The way people going around on the internet are saying that Jinder Mahal will probably win it back at the India show. I have to question that a little bit, because it won't be at India, because when you go to India, all the paperwork that you have to sign would have to be within a month in advance. That's Indian law, apparently. So, and AJ Styles is not booked for that tour. So, for Jinder to win it back to be the star of the Indian tour, he would have to beat AJ Styles before that tour. What I would love to see for them to rebuild Shinsuke Nakamura, lead them to a match at WrestleMania. I mean, why not? I have to admit, looking at this Survivor Series lineup, it's getting me very interested. The one thing I do like, because when they announced champion versus champion, what they've been doing is changing titles here and there, and major titles at that. So the build-up to Survivor Series is actually pretty good. With AJ Styles as WWE Champion, I have a reason to watch SmackDown. Puff Daddy, or P.Diddy, or Diddy, or Fuckity Duck Duck, whatever his name is, announced that he was changing his name to Brother Love. Now I know possibly people listening in the chat and Mixlr, if they are listening, will probably say, but Sky Genie, he said psych. Hey, I get it, he was joking. Probably after the fact that he found out that Brother Love was trademarked by WWE. In that case, yeah, I get the joke. I guess Cease and Desist Daddy was also taken. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were sent home from the European tour. There was a lot of rumours going around that they were kicked off the bus, yet they were never on the tour bus. But apparently the word is going around that there was meant to be a beatdown that happened after the match between Sami Zayn and Kofi Kingston. Yet, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn went to the back too early. Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer said that, well, it was taped, and if it was a botched spot, that they would have sent them back out there to do the spot. It has happened before, so this is probably a bigger issue, and I'm wondering if it's something to do with Jimmy Jacobs being fired, and the way he was fired. But I do hope that it was a misunderstanding, and that cooler heads prevail. I mean, I like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, although if they go back onto the indie scene, hey, I still get to see him. There are rumours going around that James Ellsworth is going to be released after he was beat down by all the women on the SmackDown roster. Now, I think it would suck for James Ellsworth to go, and I do have an idea. Why not, instead of releasing him, send him to 205 Live and make him the lackey for Enzo? Enzo's a guy who's known for talking a lot, and he could get people into trouble. Well, why not use James Ellsworth as a beatdown lackey? Enzo Amore could always get away, and James Ellsworth gets beaten down. So this will be it for the first part of the Sky Genie Show for episode 60. Next will be part 2. Stay tuned at the end for stupid shit of the week. Sky Genie Entertainment presents the following. The Sky Genie Show is not suitable for children under the age of 18. It contains coarse language, sexual references, my own personal views and opinions. The characters of this show are fictional and are made for fun, not harm. I would like to thank you for listening to the Sky Genie Show.
I'm back!
Hello and welcome to the Sky Genie Show. This is the worst show ever. We're on episode 60 of the Sky Genie Show, and after 2 weeks, I am finally back. I know, it's about fucking time, right? Or if you hate me, god damn it. Although, I really don't give a shit about you. Anyway, now, I will say, I may be off a week or two again in a couple of weeks from the 20th. I'll be in Sydney. Whether I record a show beforehand, or do two so I don't actually miss a show, we'll see. I might do some holiday editions. But we're here, so let's get into it. So to the people listening on Mixlr through to a live stream, if you're wondering if I'm live and currently tripping out from your bong and freaking your mind out, I have to say, relax mate, it's recorded. So I went to see Alice Cooper last weekend. I had a pretty random trip. It's funny, around the corner from where I was staying, actually pretty much across the road, there was actually a drug bust of marijuana, and I happened to walk past it, and I was taking a photo, and all these people were looking at me weird, but I'm thinking, this is a typical day in Newcastle, probably. But anyway, I've been meaning to edit that bit together, but I just haven't been bothered to do it. So, if my Adventures of Newcastle, or whatever I call it, is up by the time this episode airs, there you go. But I'll have to say about the show, or the whole show in general. I went there and they didn't have my drink. Now, I'm not a beer drinker, I never have been a beer drinker, and I don't really care if people don't like that. Jim Beam or Jack Daniels. All they had at the arena was beer. So you can imagine me being sober at an Alice Cooper show. Sadly. So I bought a hot dog and a Coke. Now, as you can imagine, the hot dog was cold, and it sucks if you want to bring alcohol, your own alcohol, into the arena because they don't allow that. So I got to eat, but I was stone cold sober. Good thing I had Jim Beam back at the motel. Sorry, hotel. But then the Strangers came on, and boy, I'm gonna say this about Strangers. These guys may have had a hit record, may have been on the charts somewhere, but they are by far maybe one of the biggest bunch of lame bands I've ever seen. Trust me, if you think I'm hard on wrestling, you should hear me with music. By God, they sucked. And now you can imagine me sitting there sober, hungry, even though I had the cold hot dog, and pissed off. Did I say pissed off? Sober, hungry, and pissed off from having to listen to the Strangers. It's funny, they were trying to get the crowd into their shit, and everyone just sat down and had no reaction at all. And you know, when there was one time where he tried to get the crowd up, and one of the times nobody did anything except for me, who just went lame pretty loudly, and I think I got a louder response than they did all night. So they went off, and then came Ace Frehley. Now, Ace Frehley was part of the legendary band called Kiss. Now, in his day, he may have been really good, may have been really awesome to see. But the thing on the ticket said he'll be playing Kiss songs. He played 2 Kiss songs, and the rest was his shit. And that was pretty bad. And apparently it was recent, so there you go. I will say it wasn't all bad, as he had pretty good guitars. He had one that lit up, and one that smoked. And that looked pretty cool, but besides the rest of it, it was pretty much a dud. The main event was truly Alice Cooper, and I got that on my phone. He comes out on stage with the whole rainy sort of pyro coming down, and it looked like, and it was a really awesome show. There was guillotines, there was a girl trapped in a box, creepy voodoo shit you expect at an Alice Cooper show. Although I was sober for this, I did manage to rock the fuck out because I was in a different town and nobody knew or gave a fuck who I was. So someone gave me a weird look, but oh well. Fuck you with the weird look. But as soon as I got back to the motel, cracked open the Jim Beans and started getting into it. Sky Genie getting on it. Well, I guess that was a review of the Alice Cooper show. If he's touring with you and it's with the same act, I will tell you, Alice Cooper is worth it. Just the rest of the show, not so much. New Japan Pro Wrestling has sold out the Tokyo Dome for Wrestle Kingdom 12. Wrestle Kingdom 12 is set to be main evented by Okada vs Naito. Tokyo Dome reportedly holds up to 55,000 people. Reportedly, sales are mostly from outside of Japan, and a lot of it is international, which is pretty good for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And it's great because Wrestle Kingdom 9 and 10 only drew 25,000 people, and it was last year at Wrestle Kingdom that it sold 45,000 people. That was almost capacity. Now, it would be really interesting if they could sell that arena out, thinking there would be stage space. But one thing would be cool is they don't need the stage, they just have the ramp of the wrestler coming out. Because the difference between WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling, WWE is all about the fancy entrances and all the spectacle. New Japan Pro Wrestling is focusing in the ring. And that's all we need. Anyway, moving on. WWE have released Emma, Summer Rae, and Darren Young. Summer Rae has been inactive for over a year, so I can see why she was fired. Darren Young was out of action around Royal Rumble, after having that weird angle with Bob Backlund, which I gotta say, why not take Bob Backlund and give him to Jason Jordan? Turn Jason Jordan heel, get him away from that stupid Kurt Angle son gimmick. Make Bob Backlund Jason Jordan's manager. I mean, out of the whole thing, I was happy I got to see Bob Backlund, and crazy Bob Backlund at that. But the most surprising one to me was Emma. Now, it's been online. The outrage online has been mixed. Some say good riddance. Others say it's a shame, and I'm on the side that thinks it's a shame because this girl was never ever given a chance. Ever. She made a name for herself in NXT. She got called up to the main roster and had this stupid bubble gimmick. Then saddled up with Santino Marella. After a while, they sent him back down to NXT, where she reinvented herself into an awesome heel character. I mean, it was pretty damn awesome. Then she gets called up to the main roster. Then she gets dropped out and gets a back injury. Then they do that million years worth of Emelina vignettes, only for her to come out and say that she is going back to Emma. Then she comes back and just gets dropped out again until she pretty much gets released. What's surprising though is that she was starting to get momentum. And she was in some pretty big angles before she was released, and being in the ring with Asuka isn't exactly a bad thing. And here's me thinking Emma doing the job for Asuka would me be thinking that WWE had confidence in Emma. There are apparently rumors going around that Emma was difficult to work with backstage with wanting a bigger role, and I see no issue with that. And it's the same thing with Austin Aries, which it sounds like. I mean, the girl has been there for 5-6 years, and she wants to move up, and I don't blame her. If I was in her shoes, I'd be doing the exact same thing. I don't want to sit around and just collect the paycheck. I would rather be in the main event, to be honest with you. But it just goes to show, if WWE has no plans for you, if WWE doesn't care about you, or if Vince McMahon, let's face it, take all of the company, if Vince McMahon does not get the gimmick, he will attempt to get the gimmick over the way he sees it, then get bored with it and do nothing with it, because he doesn't get it. The guy's in his 70s. What would he know that what's cool in 2017, right? As for Emma, I do hope that she gets somewhere in the indies. Now, women's wrestling isn't exactly big on the indies. You might go to Shima, you might see her in Women of Honor, you might see her in Impact Wrestling, which I hope not, because let's face it, TNA Impact Wrestling, it's death. Please, I do hope that Ring of Honor gets their women division in order, so we could probably see her. She should be a top star wherever she goes. Who knows, with Billy Corrigan taking over the NWA, if he gets that into a prominent position, Emma could be the main star for the NWA. See the solution? But WWE were not the only ones that felt the release bug. Impact Wrestling has been releasing superstars by the handful. Rockstar Spud, and Rockstar Spud. I really don't know the others. I don't care to. Actually, I just saw a thing of Brian Hebner. So, it has you wondering, is anybody still working for Impact Wrestling at this point? I mean, tune in next week when you will see a ring, probably Ed Nordholm standing in the ring and talking for 2 hours. Maybe you still got Josh Matthews there and he can do the play-by-play and TNA fans will say nothing's wrong. But it's interesting, like with the next bit of news, that there are rumors that Ricochet and Don Callis are on their way to Impact Wrestling. Now, if they're having money issues, their company has had past money issues. I would be thinking, don't go near that company. It doesn't seem worth it. Now, if there's a plan, great. But if they're really having money issues, get rid of the people, which is obviously what it looks like they're doing. Get rid of the people that are either not willing to let go of some of their money, or trim the fat of superstars that just aren't worth it, and focus on the stars who are there and are willing to put the company over. Now, I have to wonder about EC3. Here's a guy who went to WWE, he was released and went to TNA and made a name for himself. At the moment, he's been floundering, and if there's anybody in that company who deserves to be a top star, it's him. And I've been crying about it, I've been saying about it, that this man needs to get over. He needs to be their top star. Yet they want to push Del Rio and Eli Drake and whoever the fuck, who are probably great wrestlers. I've seen Alberto Del Rio, he's okay, but Eli Drake is probably great. I mean, I have heard that dude talk, so he's a really good talker. But at no point did I ever see him as a guy who's the face of a company. But I've talked about this long enough. Don't go away. After the break, more of the Sky Genie Show. The Sky Genie Show will be back after the break. Can't get enough of the Sky Genie Show? Check out the website, skygenieshow.weebly.com. There you'll find links to past shows and much more. Go to skygenieshow.weebly.com today. You need more fruits and vegetables in your diet? Check out juiceplus.com.au today. Juice Plus is the convenient and inexpensive way to add more nutrition to your diet from fruits and vegetables every day. Juice Plus Fruit Blend is made from 7 different fruits. Juice Plus Vegetable Blend is made from 10 different vegetables, grains, plus an array of natural antioxidants, phytochemicals, and fiber in a convenient capsule form. Each ingredient is especially selected to provide you with a wide range of nutritional benefits. We call it next best thing to fruits and vegetables. Check out juiceplus.com.au today. For in-depth discussion and show updates, go to the show's Facebook at the Sky Genie Show page. For in-depth discussion on professional wrestling, as well as politics and the stupid laws in your state, check out Wrestling's National Committee with Johnny Florida, Old Man Jenkins, and Papa Dave Sensei, live on Mixlr on Tuesdays during SmackDown, for the after party of Wrestling Soup, and on Sundays. Check them out. Are you a person looking to get into media for work experience? Then sign up to Sky Genie Entertainment. Sky Genie Entertainment is everything the Sky Genie Show, from the channels to the social media page, marketing and advertising. This is strictly for volunteering, so if you're interested, go to skygenieshow.weebly.com, follow the link to the Sky Genie Entertainment page, and click the link to the inbox, where I will deal with you personally. On that page is a list of positions I am looking for. Check it out today. Do you need a good laugh after the crap you see on Monday Night Raw? Then check out the Don Tony and Kevin Castle Show as they break down Raw and current events in professional wrestling. The Don Tony Kevin Castle Show, immediately after Raw. You are listening to the Sky Genie Show. And we are back. WWE have had an invasion angle between Raw and SmackDown, and it looks like Kurt Angle will be captaining the team. Now, it's been a little weird that they did not have Raw invade SmackDown like SmackDown invaded Raw. I guess WWE figured that nobody's going to watch SmackDown again. But this is for brand supremacy, which, what does it really matter? I mean, it's the same fucking company, with the same fucking rules. You have a champion on SmackDown who never draws. You have a champion on Raw who never shows up. We have The Miz versus Baron Corbin. and everything else not to make sense. But then, this is WWE. WWE logic. Nothing is meant to make sense. Anyway, moving on. I wanted to talk about Ring of Honor. In light of all the Emma being released, it had me thinking of why Ring of Honor doesn't have the Women of Honor on the main cards. Now, I'm not one to be PC. In fact, if you've listened to the show, I am far from PC. But we are in an age where women's wrestling isn't that bad. A lot of the women wrestlers are better than the men. And if you watch the Mae Young Classic, there are good wrestlers, female wrestlers out there. So I'd love to see a company like Ring of Honor make women's wrestling a focal point. Maybe you could lure someone like Emma, who was just released, to that company to be a star in that company. I mean, I love Ring of Honor. I'm a fan of the product no matter what. Fuck WWE. But it would be cool to see some competitive women's matches on Ring of Honor TV. And on pay-per-view. I mean, why not, right? Anyway, moving on. So, I got Netflix a couple of months ago. I still have it currently. Of course, I've been watching shows like Trailer Park Boys, BoJack Horseman, Rick and Morty. What else is on there? F for Family. Oh yeah, animated shows and comedy shows, but there are a lot of weird shows on there too. Shows like The Good Place. Seems pretty cool. A devil dude takes 4 people and tortures the shit out of them. I mean, why not? But there's a lot of weird shows on there, and I could see why they go on Netflix, because you'd never put them on free-to-air TV. And I know everyone's thinking Sky Genie or late in the game, but what I got to say that, hey, I'm poor. Fuck you. Nah, I'm just kidding. Kinda. Anyway, let's move on. Jeff Jarrett was officially fired from Impact Wrestling after no-showing a random event in Canada. It is being said that Jeff Jarrett has checked into rehab and that it is WWE sponsored. I mean, I guess the failure of 2 wrestling companies and having Karen Angle when she's starting to sag, hey, that'll lead me to the drink too. And it's funny, so many people look at Karen Angle and say, oh, how hot she is. And, sorry, she looks like an old lady to me. I mean, people get on Sonny for thinking something gross. I mean, look at Karen Jarrett, I mean, gross. Papa Dave has a saying on his show, where it smells like fish and tastes like chicken. Well, you gotta think with Karen Angle at this point, smells like fish, tastes like sardines. If you're looking to get grossed out, congratulations, courtesy of the Sky Genie Show. So, let's move on. Stephanie McMahon is back on TV. Nikki Bella was voted off Dancing with the Stars. Which means she'll be back on WWE TV soon. Just think, we'll probably get a promo for a return. I was on Dancing with the Stars, and then I got voted off. The Sky Genie Show will be back after the break. For discussions and opinions on the events of professional wrestling, check out Wrestling Soup with Joey Numbers, Anthony Missionary Thomas and John Draper as they break down what's good and what's bad in professional wrestling with a light-hearted approach. Thursdays, 9:30 on Mixlr, Saturday morning-ish, and after every WWE pay-per-view, you get a free post-show review. Check out Wrestling Soup, motherfuckers. For those wanting to follow me on Twitter, it's at SDD916. Check it out. Looking for a podcast instead of wrestling? And check out Get in the Corner with Dogger Baby and Yuck Nasty, 8:30 Wednesday night on Mixlr. Looking for a good wrestling podcast for Sundays? Because let's face it, who isn't bored on a Sunday, but also wants to have that lazy day? Then check out the Solomonster Sounds off. He breaks down everything that in the week that was professional wrestling. Also check out his Facebook page, where there's numerous discussions on the topics of For in-depth discussion and show updates, go to the show's Facebook at the Sky Genie Show page. For those wanting to follow me on Twitter, it's at SDD916. Check it out. Check out the Sky Genie Show on YouTube, Mixlr, Vimeo, and DTube. Hey, have you got a suggestion for stupid shit of the week? Then please send it to Twitter at SDD916. That is at SDD916 on Twitter. You are listening to the Sky Genie Show. Welcome back. And now it's time for
Stupid shit of the week.
This was the part of the show that got cut. From the Facebook ads to now was what was cut and to the end, so it wasn't that much. But for last week's stupid shit of the week was Leo Rush. Leo Rush sent a tweet out just hours after it was announced that Emma was released from WWE about losing to Asuka. Pretty much lost her job. At this point, I forget the tweet mostly. But yes, it was stupid of him, but he is also young. Hopefully he only does jobs. As for this week's stupid shit of the week, Impact Wrestling decides to pay its fans to attend. Yes, if you're in the Ottawa area, you can get paid to attend an Impact Wrestling event. Just think, how much lower can this company go? I mean, this company just hangs on by a thread, a single thread. And it doesn't matter who owns it, who does what, this company will never get better. And stupid shit like this will end up with it going out of business. Give it a year, because they're hemorrhaging money, and this does not make money. It actually costs money. So that is why that TNA paying fans is this week's stupid shit of the week. I'd like to thank you all for listening to the Sky Genie Show. Check out the many platforms on YouTube, DTube, BitChute, Mixcloud, and Vimeo. Our website, skygenieshow.weebly.com. Facebook, it's the Sky Genie Show page. On Twitter, it's at SDD916. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you next episode. Bye. This was a Sky Genie Show production.